Hey, I'm Nick E3 and welcome to E3 Week starting today, Monday, June 13th. Today on the show, it is so much news. So much news. All the news. Titanfall 2, Star Wars, Prey, weird screaming lady thing. We got it all! Strap it in, guys. It's gonna be a giant episode. Alright guys, so there is so much news in today's episode that we're cutting out everything else. We're just focusing on the goss that's coming out with E3. But a lot of stuff also happened over the weekend. So before the break, it's going to be all the news that broke over the last couple of days. Then after that, everything E3. First up, after months of speculation, anger, tears, fears, hope, frustration, and terrible communication, Sony confirmed over the weekend that the PlayStation 4.5 is a thing. President and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Andrew House, told the Financial Times, where all gamers get their news, that the high-end version of the PS4 would sit alongside and complement the standard version of the console. It will also support 4K, be a smoother experience for VR, and that all games will support the standard PS4, and we anticipate all, or a very large majority of games, will also support the high-end PS4. Well, it'd be good to finally see that bad boy in action at E3. Except you won't, because it won't actually be there this week. So to reiterate, all the consoles that won't be shown off at E3. The PlayStation 4.5, the NX, and probably the Xbox Scorpio. Also the Virtual Boy. Probably. Hopefully. The Game Awards, created by Jeff Keighley, hosted by Jeff Keighley, partially funded by Jeff Keighley, lit, recorded, and mixed by Jeff Keighley, and all the recipients are actually Jeff Keighley in Mission Impossible style masks, are back on December 1st. Last year's Game Awards were generally well received, as it appeared to be the first time the industry was being respected in an award ceremony, and weren't just being force-fed Doritos while Samuel L. Jackson sprayed Mountain Dew over a whole lot of breasts. So let's hope the trend continues. In DLC news, Star Wars Battlefront's second round of premium content set in Cloud City will drop after E3 on June 21st for Season Pass holders, and 2 weeks later for the rest of you schlubs who don't pony up for things when you don't know what they are or if they're worth it. The pack, entitled Bespin, will feature Lando Calrissian and bounty hunter / hobo Dengar as playable characters. You can fly around in a twin-pod clown car, and there's even a map set in the room where the guy from the Mosquito Coast made this face. And more DLC is coming at you as Rocket League is getting a neon Future Tokyo themed arena on June 20th, along with the start of Season 3 for competitive playlists, 2 new cars, a new loot drop system that will feature more rare and very rare items, new quick chat options, post-game celebrations, and more. Moving on to esports news, and according to analytics firm Newzoo, between August last year and now, viewers have watched over 803.7 million hours of esports coverage on Twitch. But those numbers were immediately out of date because over the weekend, the greatest esport of them all, Dota 2, wrapped up its Manila Major with Team OG grabbing victory again, the first team in history to win 2 majors. A statistic slightly lessened in impact when you remember there have only been 3 majors ever. Still a huge win for the green team, nabbing themselves a cool $1 million in a 3-1 victory over Team Liquid. And in the other greatest esports ever, Hearthstone held its EU Spring Championship Grand Finals with Tice taking out top spot against Inner 4-3, where Rogue went up against Rogue and Tice came out on top for a second year in a row. And everyone's favorite brooding bastard son, Jon Snow, is going from the big sad to the big bad in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. According to the game's narrative director Taylor Kurosaki, Game of Thrones actor and bastard Kit Harington immersed himself into the role and truly became the embodiment of the enemy, the Settlement Defense Front. So expect his character to massive Game of Thrones spoilers there in the last bit. I probably wouldn't listen to it. Alright, next up, it's all the goss from E3, but before that, it's a Dota Game of Thrones mashup thing of the day.
Thing of the day.
Christian Nan, also known as Hodor from Game of Thrones, made an appearance at the Dota 2 Manila Major over the weekend. Christian opened and held the door for both finalists OG and Team Liquid. Hold the door, Hodor. Hold the door.
Welcome on stage, OG. Ba 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 da ba da ba. Thing of the day.
Very appropriate thing of the day graphic there. All right, E3. First up, EA had their press conference across the street from E3 because EA. A Titanfall 2 story trailer was shown off and they're promising to go big. Titanic even. Titanic. The sequel to the multiplayer-only Titanfall, this one will now feature a single-player campaign that focuses on pilot Jack Cooper and his Titan. The Titans will now have personalities and voices and will play a part as characters rather than being disposable vehicles like in the first game. Producer of the game, Drew McCoy, stated that they are aware that many players will want the game purely for the offline single-player campaign and are building it to be a lengthy and meaningful experience, not just a collection of training missions against AI. We also learned a bit about the multiplayer, which will now have 6 Titans to choose from, and new abilities and items such as the grappling hook and power slide for pilots. The game will be out on Xbox One and PS4 and will run at 60 frames per second, with PC players getting a version that will run at a maximum of 144 Hz. We got a new trailer for Mass Effect Andromeda that shows some story alongside a bit of gameplay and behind the scenes. Though I would argue that we would need to see more scenes before we can appreciate what's behind them. Still, Mass Effect is one of my most anticipated games that we already know about, so any amount of effect is good effect. But if role-playing in space isn't your thing, maybe role-playing in football is more your speed. We already knew FIFA 17 would be running on the Frostbite engine, but now we know it will also feature a single-player story mode. And not just a pro mode, this one has characters, and cutscenes, and a dialogue wheel. With hopefully appropriately British choices like get in the goal and yeah and but I don't want to be a miner daddy, I want to be a dancer. The game will be out September 29th. And staying with football, EA also unveiled their plans for more Star Wars games. We heard from a variety of developers who are working with EA on Star Wars titles. Criterion Games are creating a VR Star Wars Battlefront mission that will be a PSVR exclusive released later this year. Respawn Entertainment are working on an action-adventure game which looks mocap lightsaber intensive, and perhaps the most exciting sneak peek was the Star Wars title Visceral Games are working on, headed by former Uncharted director and George Lucas sound-alike Amy Hennig.
How do you ground the new and unfamiliar in the familiar? You need the guidance of someone like Doug Chang to show you the way.
EA also unveiled an esports initiative, with Madden NFL getting 4 EA majors with a combined prize pool of $1 million US. According to EA, they will also include community-level support for people who want to host their own events, and new competitive modes and weekly contests in the games themselves to, quote, make stars of our players. Battlefield 1 was also shown off as this was announced, so it's likely it too will receive some EA esports love. And Battlefield's new trailer looks like it's going to have some fantastic maps and some very on-fire Zeppelins. The only new IP EA showed off was Faye, which looks like purple Ori and the Blind Forest. So we are shooting this at exactly 11:59 this morning, and Bethesda are about to start their own press conference. So we're gonna go watch that, and we'll come back after what is hopefully a very cool montage filled with Bethesda newly announced titles. It's on! Champions started us off with a teaser trailer showing lots of spinning, shooting, and billowy, flamey things. Coming 20 years after the original, Quake Champions will feature arena-style shooting on the PC and will run at 120 Hz with unlocked frame rates, which has made John very happy. Oh, Chewbacca shirt. It's Sunday. Characters will also have their own unique abilities and attributes, so of course esports is built into Quake Champions, with Bethesda supporting tournaments in spaces other than QuakeCon. Elder Scrolls Legends will feature a story mode campaign and a unique lane mechanic. We'll let the Moth Priest tell us more.
The Elder Scrolls show us what was, and what yet will be. And they have revealed much to me.
Spare us your stories, old man, unless they can sharpen spears. Our war chief is dying. Our enemies are massing for another attack. We must prepare for battle.
We should go, Kellen. We have the scroll we came for. And this one smells blood in the wind.
I still have so many doubts about that game, not least of which is how tall those cards are. Those are some tall cards. The game will be released on PC, Mac, iOS, and Android. A video from Bethesda GameWorks was up next, featuring a leather jacketless Todd Howard, looking all relaxed like he doesn't even care that he lost his jacket. My boy Todd spoke about the new DLC coming to Fallout 4, including Contraptions Workshop, where you can build elevators, which comes out next week, build your own vault in Vault Tech and experiment on Vault Dwellers next month, and visit Nuka World in August. There's also an update coming for Fallout Shelter, which will feature quests, new enemies, new combat, and new characters. Bethesda also revealed Skyrim, now with color. The Skyrim Special Edition will be available on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Shadows, water shaders, mods, dynamic mushrooms. The game has it all and is out on October 28th. Arcane Studios also announced the new game they're working on. It's Prey. Set in 2032, aliens have taken over a space station and are hunting a guy with a gunky eye whose reflection has some bad news for him.
Good morning, Morgan. You're not going to like what I have to say next.
Prey will be out next year for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. Doom is also receiving ongoing support in the form of new content for Snap Map, additional multiplayer modes including FFA Deathmatch, and DLC. The DLC will be released next month and includes 3 new maps plus a bunch of new items and a new playable demon to murder your friends with. Starting tonight, you can also download the first level of Doom on Steam, Xbox One, and PS4 for free this week only if you haven't checked it out already. Or you could just go watch me play it on Pocket. Just kind of casually dismiss it out of hand. Bethesda then went on to play a trailer for content you've already seen in Elder Scrolls Online, and one girl in the audience just loved it. You can rest assured that girl wasn't me. If you live in Japan, you can now get involved because Elder Scrolls Online is coming to you. I'm so sorry. New for everyone though is One Tamriel, a mode where all characters are auto-leveled to max level, so you can go anywhere you want, do whatever you want, with no level restrictions. And 6 people loved that.
This means...
They say it's the first time any MMO has done this, but that's because they've pretty much just removed the whole point of playing through an MMO. But it's an interesting idea. We'll see if people are into just exploring. Bethesda also talked about VR. Doom and Fallout 4 are playable at E3 right now, and Fallout 4 is coming out for everyone on the Vive in 2017. We then got a good look at Dishonored 2, which will run on the Void engine, specifically made to bring this ambitious fictional world to life. We were then shown a trailer and a portion of gameplay and saw a number of interesting new abilities in action. The Dishonored stuff looked great, but the demo was a little low-key. Still, I am pumped for that game, and we can all play it on November 11th this year. So that is it for the presses today. Everything is wrapped up. They were good press conferences, but nothing particularly mind-blowing. The stuff EA showed off was interesting, but there wasn't anything we didn't already know about other than Faye, which isn't anything incredible. Bethesda's conference was a lot better, solid games to show off, and a few surprises like VR, Screaming Goat Lady, a possible tease for Wolfenstein New Colossus in the boot screen for Quake, and the fact that Blink-182 are somehow still alive and performed after the show. Well, we didn't get to see it. Alright, that is it for today's episode of Pocket. My Pocketeers! Just because we're not doing the talk-through doesn't mean we don't still want your suggestions, so let me know in the comments below, and while you're there, let me know what tickled your nugs today. What piece of news are you most excited about from all the press conferences and all the news that dropped over the last 24 hours? And while you're on the internet, check out Good Game on Facebook, YouTube, and iView. Want to meet fellow Pocketeers? Then join the Pocketeers Facebook group and Steam group. You can follow Good Game on Twitter at Good Game TV. Follow Pocket at NichBoy, at Pierreth, at GG, at Monkey, at Sam Gee, and for the next week, at TobyGV. You update that banner yet, Toby? Yeah, I got a bunch. So did you. Cool. Did you even look?
Yeah, I looked.
Do you have a favorite?
I do. I'll check.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
But I wanted to see if you had any good ones.
Right, okay. We're gonna have a little powwow after this, and then we'll decide on one. There are links to everything I just said in the description below. Today's Thing of the Day graphic was made by Aiden Jolly. Thank you very much, Aiden. If you've made a thing, please send it in. All right, that's it for today. Time to sleep. Until tomorrow's E3 madness, NichBoy out.